So as you can see, we're ready for Pesach. Baruch Hashem, got a few people here. And I've spoken to a lot of people this year, and people are telling me that Pesach is just going to be so different. How different is this night from all other nights? On other Pesachs, we have parents, children, grandchildren. We have so many different things that we can access. We weren't able to get to the shops this year. We weren't able to get all the things we want. We couldn't go out clothes buying, get beautiful new clothes for Pesach to impress everyone. We can't get out. We feel like this Pesach is different to all other years, and we're suffering. We can't enjoy it in the same way. Let me tell you a story which happened some years ago. There was a chassid in Poland who graduated from having small little l'chaims, little tots, started enjoying it and having more and more, till he became a complete alcoholic, and he was having a bottle a night or something, till his Rebbe found out about it. And when the holy Rebbe found out about it, he told him in no uncertain words, he said, Moshe, he said, you've got to stop drinking right now. You cannot continue like this. You'll kill yourself. You're ruining your avodas Hashem, your service of Hashem. You're ruining your life. Moshe hit him hard. And he took it very seriously. And from that moment on, he did not have a single drink. He could be around in a wedding, he could have a bottle of wine, and he wouldn't touch it, put it back down again. Then he started getting ill. He didn't realize that you can't just stop cold turkey. He started getting terrible withdrawal symptoms to the degree where it actually put him in danger of his life, and he became very ill. The doctor, in consultation with his Rebbe, told him, Moshe, you've now got to drink. You have to drink a certain amount and then slowly cut it down till you cut it down to nothing. But if you carry on like this, you're going to kill yourself. The Rebbe agreed there's no choice, and indeed that's what happened. But Moshe absolutely refused. They got two strong men, and two strong men held him down onto the floor, and they took a bottle of mashka, and they wanted to pour it down his throat. Moshe, however tough he was, he knew he was no match against two people holding him down and another one pouring it down. He said to them, Asishoin azoi, if it's already like this, I've got no choice. He said, you know what? He said, let's swap. One of you hold me down and two of you pour it down my throat. This year, the way we look at it, at the Seder is, Asishoin azoi, we have no choice. Instead of focusing on what we don't have around our Seder table, instead of focusing on the clothes we don't have, or the options that we don't have, or the family that we don't have with us, let's focus on what a Seder really is. What is a Seder all about? Is it just about the specific family traditions? Is it about specific foods? It certainly is, matzah moro, things like that. But what happens if you don't have your eingemachts? Does that mean your Pesach's completely ruined because you can't get to the shop in time? The essence of a Seder is going back all the way to Egypt to build the emunah, the basic faith that a Jew has, that every Jew has, that we have as a nation that's carried us through all these millennia of difficulties. That is what a Seder is all about. If you'd know that when you went out clapping on Thursday night for the NHS, if you'd be warned in advance that Queen Elizabeth herself, together with the Prime Minister, may he have a quick recovery, together with the heads of the NHS, are actually going to come to your street, and they want to see you and your neighbours clapping and cheering the NHS, and it's going to be televised, and it's going to be it's going to have a tremendous effect on everyone. If you'd know that, trust me, you'd be out there and you'd clap like you've never clapped before till your hands were completely sore. And for years later, you'd be talking about that special night when you went out to clap and cheer for the NHS, and the Queen and the heads of the NHS had such encouragement and such happiness from what you were doing. They were so impressed. They'd heard about what the enthusiasm on your street, and they all came to see it. Wow. Zohar tells us that when a Jew makes a Seder, Hashem takes his pamalio shomalo, says the Zohar. Hashem takes his retinue, his advisors, and those who accompany him, as it were. He brings his malachim, his holy angels, and he says, "Come with me. Come and look. Look at this Seder table. Look at this Jewish family sitting together. Look at this young Jewish couple. Look at this one person sitting in their flat by themselves on Seder night. celebrating, thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything, thanking for every breath that we take. We appreciate every breath now. With this terrible virus robbing people of the ability to breathe properly, we appreciate everything now, every small thing. We appreciate having freedom, that we are essentially free even if we can't go out to the parks and we can't do non-essential travel for a certain amount of time. We're in essence free people, free to exercise our religion, free to be able to be ourselves, free to be able to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with all the mitzvahs. That is the essence of the Seder. There's a tremendous joy in knowing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu so much nachas, so much pleasure. And he's getting all the more pleasure this year because it's such difficult circumstances. It's so difficult with so many things we've not got. And yet, we're not saying, right, no Seder this year, we're doing one day Yom Tov. No, we say we want to do the same thing, however hard it is, however many things we're lacking and missing. I want to give pleasure to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I know that he's going to be standing there. I know that my clapping, as it were, my Seder, my appreciation of everything that happened and is happening still today and will happen, because we know that whatever happens in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, will be replicated and magnified many times over as soon as Mashiach comes, which will be very soon. That's a Seder night. There's a question asked by many commentators who ask, the very first Seder night was commemorated, it was in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, while they were still slaves. What was there to celebrate? They're still slaves, Paro is still their master, they haven't escaped yet, who knows whether they're going to be able to escape? It may be all a dream. Why? How can they celebrate a Seder? How can they sit around a table? And the answer, says Rabbi Nachman of Chernobyl, he said, the answer is that a Jew has so much hope and faith. They had seen what HaKadosh Baruch Hu could do, 10 plagues, and the absolute control and mastery Hashem had over everything in the world. They knew that they're going to be going out, and they were already celebrating the fact that there's a light at the end of a tunnel, and it will come, even if it hasn't come yet, and they're still feeling like slaves. I saw myself an oven that was used as a matzah oven in the barracks in Auschwitz, in a place which was a hell on earth, where no one could ever imagine anything past it, anything beyond it, and yet Jews, with incredible dedication and sacrifice, literally risking their lives, managed to eke together a little bit of flour and a bit of water and mixed it together and put it on top of those ovens which used to heat the barracks. Because that's a Jew. And finally, the eggs that we have on Seder night. There's various interpretations for it, but I saw a nice interpretation, which is, if you ask a cook, any food that you cook, the longer you cook it, the softer it gets. If you cook it for a very long time, it'll end up a real mush, except for eggs. Eggs, the longer you cook it, the harder it becomes. Soft-boiled, and then it becomes hard-boiled, and then it becomes a rubber ball. It becomes inedible. But it's hard like rubber, bouncy like rubber. Eggs represent, therefore, resilience. It represents the ability that when it gets tough and you're getting boiled, it's that at that point, you just become tougher and stronger and more able to go through. Because we know that Pesach tells us Hashem has a master plan. There were 210 years of misery of slavery in Egypt. Hashem had a plan. And that plan led to the most magnificent moment in history where the Jewish nation became the one chosen nation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, able to serve Him, to exercise their freedom in becoming truly free, as truly free human beings, able to exercise their moral conscience and to be able to serve Hashem and thank Hashem. That is the ultimate. And we know, therefore, Hashem has a master plan also, when at every point we know that despite us being now isolated, we know that we will soon be out of this. And not only will we be out of this, please God, Hoshata Hacha this year we're here, the Shana Haba, Emir Hashem, we'll all be together, maybe even this Seder night already, Ba'aradi Israel, in the land of Israel, in Jerusalem together, Amen.